Okay, hi, and welcome to another episode of Adventure Habits with me, David Overton, and Splash Maps. And for all blue light customers of ours out there, anyone who's in the emergency services, we've got a prediction that there's going to be a prison break, and it's going to be Dartmoor Prison, and it's going to be at the end of next month. So 30th of May, 24 hours. There are going to be at least 100 people running away. And after this podcast, maybe a few more. How do we know? Because we've got the person who's run the furthest from Dartmoor, from the prison break. Very warm welcome to the Adventure Habits for Lee Plank. Lee, how are you?
Hi, David. I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me on. Exciting
It's
stuff.
superb to have someone of your caliber here.
Thank you.
I
Thank
think
you.
we should explain that you've done nothing criminal as far as I'm aware, but
No,
the
I haven't. No, I
prison
haven't.
break
No.
just
Well, yeah.
so
I keep ending up back in Dartmoor in the prison and having to escape. So I don't. There must be some. I must be doing something wrong.
I think that could be the case, or it could just be the case that it's one of the funnest themed ultra marathon. Would you call it an ultra marathon race? It does fit
Um,
that description?
I guess so. I mean, it gives you that platform to have a go without the added pressure of a finish line. You can stop whenever you want to stop. I mean, the beauty of that race, that event, is that you can sign up for a 6 hour, a 12 hour, or the 24 hour, which is
Uh,
great because it opens it up
yeah.
to anybody, walkers, runners, you know. So yeah, I think if you can walk a good pace and you want to go for 24 hours, yeah, you'll be definitely into the ultra world.
Fantastic, fantastic. So in broad terms, this is a group of runners that congregate in just outside the gates of Dartmoor Prison, and on a certain day this year, the 30th of May, I think it is.
That
Um,
sounds correct.
Everyone will gather there. Search and rescue are there, but they're all in theme. They're all dressed up as prison guards, and the starting gun goes, and you just run as far as you can in whatever direction. And make no bones about this, guys. This is a geographical mapping challenge as well as being a feat of considerable strength and endurance. And Lee has run the furthest in 24 hours. How far did you get, Lee?
Well, they work it out as the crow flies. And I can't remember off the top of my head what that is, but I've reached a distance of 102 miles. That's just left me just shy of Bath. So I tried to head towards home. Bath is where I got just shy of Bath basically. But like you sort of say, they we sort of put us inside the prison walls, and then they set the sirens off, like, so we've all escaped, and we all just go off in different directions. So it's quite
So
comical in a
genuinely,
way.
you're inside the prison walls. This is like a proper prison break.
Proper prison break. Yeah, they push us behind the gate, and then they let the sirens go, and and we all go. It's quite comical because some people go left, some people go right. You start off together in a group probably of about 10 or 15 of you, and then gradually every footpath someone just goes off in a different direction. And
Yeah.
after a few miles you can end up pretty much on your own. But you can also, there's a beauty of having some crew if you want to have crew, people that can meet you at certain points. So that's always
Mm.
an added bonus.
So there's quite a bit of thinking behind this. I mean, I should say, this year we're actually sponsoring this amazing event, and so we're fully behind it. There's a 15% discount for people who are taking part, and that code will be available via the link at the bottom of this. But do make sure that you enter if you are a runner. Then this is definitely a challenge you don't want to miss out on. But 100, let's go back 102 miles. That is a phenomenal distance to
Yeah.
run in 24 hours. I mean, how do you build up to that?
Um, I well, I go. I guess you have to go back to the beginning and where my running running career starts and you do certain distances, and then you think, well, what is possible? What can I do? You know,
Mm.
what can where can I take this to? And you know, you read things, you watch quite a lot of the YouTube videos of people running, and but it's just nice to see where you can go, what can you do, and test
Mm.
yourself. I think it's important to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, surely you did test yourself as well, but there must be. I mean, I alluded it to being a topographic challenge as well. I mean, you've got to. There's only if you're heading out west, there's only so many ways to go across the Tamar. Or if you're planning to go up country, there are ways you can work the contours, that sort of thing. And I guess you want to stay away from those major roads quite a lot of the time. So, how
Yeah.
much of your time is spent planning your route, and then what do you take with you to make sure that you're staying on track?
Well, I've been doing this event now. I think it's this year will be my fifth time. I'm downscaling this year to 12 hours. Um, but I do because, and I've gone north and I've gone I've headed towards Land's End. I try to do that. So you spend a lot of time looking at lines on maps, looking at contours, seeing can I gain by going over something, or is it quicker to go round it? Is that road safe to run on? Is there a trail nearby? And it's, I'd say, like I say, 4 years, and I'm still looking at my maps now, thinking, oh, I can pinch a little bit there, I can pinch a little bit more there, just to straighten the line, because you're trying to get as far away from the prison as the crow flies. It's not about how
Does
far you can run in the 24 hours, it's about how far you can go in a straight line. That's how they do the measurement.
that so you have to think about this as kind of circles,
Yeah.
you're aiming for that 100-mile radius, 100-mile yeah, radius circle around your spot, or given it was 102 last time, you're now looking at 103-mile radius. So well, I guess you probably won't tell us which direction you're planning to go this year. It'd be strange to give
I don't
such
tend to.
such information
They
away.
ask me every time I go to the start line which way am I going, and I don't want to tell them because they have guards. They have people that dress up as guards, and they give you a little bit of a head start, and then they try to come after you or catch you, and it's not like the end of your race if they catch you. It's just a little bit of name shaming onto their socials that you've been caught, and they set you off on your way. So I don't like to give anything away. So I'm not saying anything on this, but I will say that I went to sign up today to do the 12 hours, and I'm still hovering over that 24 hours. But I think I want to focus on some other projects later in the year. So I think 12 hours is the suitable route for me this year.
Okay, okay. And I put the challenge to one of our runners that was on here earlier in the season, Jamie Ramsey, and I'm trying to persuade him to come along and take part in it, because if there's a guy that knows long distances, he knows long distances. But yeah, hopefully he won't bring his three-wheeler with him as he took from the US all the way down to Buenos Aires.
Yeah,
Um,
very impressive.
but what an amazing feat over 24 hours, 102 miles. Fantastic. So I guess credit must go to whoever's coaching you.
Yeah, I mean,
Is there a
yeah,
methodology there?
definitely. I use a coach called Nathan Montague. He works out of a company called the Running Club with a K. Um, he's been coaching me now for the last 3 years, I'd say. But I mean, I didn't take him on purposely for this event. It was for another event that I did
Hmm.
a couple of years ago that I failed to do. It was my first DNF, and I thought, well, I need I need a bit of guidance. So I took Nathan on, and yeah, he's taken me to that next level, and go because then I can sort of seen the progress just by the start. Like I said, I've done four attempts, different directions, and I've seen by having the coach, it's improved my running, and I've managed to get further. The
Yeah.
first three times I did go completely solo. I had nobody, I think they like you to sort of have some sort of crew, but I did it solo. And on this last attempt, because I saw that the record was getting pushed further away for someone of my capabilities just going solo, a good friend of mine, David Churchill, came along and crewed me for the 24, which helps massively because you can stay on that straight line. But
Yeah,
the previous years, I've had to go off and find food, find water. These things. These are the other things you've got to think about. You can't carry everything you need for 24 hours. You got to have your maps, which is very important because my watch
of course.
died the year
Yeah.
before last. Within five miles of leaving the prison, my watch had an epi, my phone had an epi.
Yeah.
Eventually,
Yeah.
it all came back on, but that's why you've got to have a decent map. You've got to have a map, and you've got to know how to read a map.
That's it, people. You need a backup, and you need to
Yeah,
you need to understand how to read a map. So
yeah,
yeah, and there's no map lighter than a splash map. So well,
exactly.
absolutely brilliant that you're here. You can share your story. I mean, what was? Is there any kind of standout, like odd moment that happened to you, or a kind of interaction or something along the way that made you
Uh,
smile?
going north from Dartmoor. I always hit Taunton around sort of early hours of the morning, and you get the chuckouts from the pubs and the clubs. And most people are friendly. Once they know what you're doing, obviously you're raising money for the Dartmoor rescue team. They want to log on as soon as they get home and see where you are, track you. I've had a couple of things where they've tried to get me to go into a pub and want to buy me a drink, and I'm like, no, there's no way I'm having a drink. Um, I've gone
It's
into
isotonic, isn't it? Beer.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I've ended up in 24-hour petrol stations where the staff have like, where have you come from? And normally they shut everything down, so you're going through a hatch to get what you want, and you think, oh, I'd really fancy some fizzy drink or whatever, the Red
Yeah,
Ambulance, the Coca-Cola, and they've actually got once they realise what I'm doing, they've opened up the door so I can go in and get stuff, and they've actually
yeah,
purchased it for me. They've paid for it as well because once they know, how far you've ran, they're like gobsmacked. Some people they can't believe it. They just can't get their heads around it. But
yeah, yeah.
I think, and also at one time I was just running, and two people that I know were on holiday. I hadn't organised to see them. They didn't even know where I was going, but they were there. They were on the side of
They
the road, and
recognise
they
you
were
running
like, "Oh,"
past.
and just at the right time. Things like that always happen to me, and I think, you know, you got to always think positive. I was getting low on fluids, getting low on food, wasn't feeling it. I was having a low spot, and then out of the blue, someone that lives just not far away from where I live now, and they were there, and they went off and got me some drink and got me some food. So there's always people out there
Yeah.
that help. There's a lot of good people, I think,
Uh,
around.
it's it's a common theme on all the adventurers that we hear on this story. There's a lot of coincidence going on if you put yourself out there, right? Um, I mean, in my mind's eye, I can see this is an extraordinary event because, I mean, like yourself going through Taunton in the wee small hours of the morning. First of all, it reminds me of the 118 advert, but there's also the fact that you when you see people with numbers on running, you expect to see a group of them. You expect to see or a trail of them at the very least. Heading trailed out along the hill line or something.
Yeah,
But in this case, you're all running individually. It must be quite an unusual sight for people to see, and
yeah,
I love the
definitely.
idea of them being chucked out of nightclubs and pubs and bumping into you. Okay, well, look, Lee, they we love to give value to our listeners, and I know that a lot of people are going to want to hear what your adventure habits are. So I understand that you prepared 5 for us, and I was just wondering what your first adventure habit would be.
Well, I think it's important that whatever you're running with, that you should train the gut. So I use that term, train the gut. If I'm out in my training runs, I use the fuel that I'm going to use on that race. Um,
Yeah,
I try to stay away from the gels, and I try to eat food that I enjoy. I like rice pudding. that's probably my go-to. But yeah, definitely train the gut. That's number
Oh,
one.
well, great. So rice pudding, you'd recommend that, easy to digest on the go, is that? Yeah,
Yeah,
settles
I like
nicely.
that. It's quite an easy thing to carry. You can decanter it into seal bags if you want to, if you can be a brave man. But yeah, I like that sort of thing. Try to eat more real food. Keep the real food, and then go to gels if you need to at a later date. Into once you get to a certain point, you can't eat food, then go to gels. That's what I do.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So you have those gels, but they're something that you get to later on when you need a pep or something, right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, yeah. Just mix it up a bit. You don't want to be eating the same thing all the time, drinking the same thing all the time. I try to
Yeah.
vary it.
I remember doing that on the South Downs Way, mountain biking, and just bringing too many flapjacks. And
Yeah,
honestly, however much you love flapjacks, just don't use it as your principal energy source.
yeah.
It's
That's
not
it.
good.
That's it. Yeah, definitely.
Great. Okay, so training the gut is the first of your adventure
Yeah.
habits. What would you say for the second one?
Control the controllables. I think that is big key. Make sure that you can do everything that's possible in your power to be prepared for what you're about to do. I mean, there's things that are
Hmm.
going to happen that you can't control. So, but everyone else has got that problem as well. So just keep control of the ones that you can control. I think that's a good
Yeah.
point.
So that might be your choice of shoes or your
Yeah.
all of that stuff, as opposed to, well, you can't do anything about the weather,
No.
and
Just make
and
sure
you're
that the
quite
kit's
right.
test. Just make sure that just make sure that the kit's tested for what you're about to put it through. So make sure you're running those conditions that it could be. I mean, May's a funny time of the year. It gets quite cold overnight, so just make sure that you've got the kit that can get you through. There's nothing
Yeah,
wrong with going out
yeah,
for a run at midnight just to test some kit. Not a problem. I'd rather
yeah.
do that. I'd rather do that than get to the event and pull some kit out and go, oh, I haven't tried this. No, that's a no go.
So in regards to that, when you buy kits, um, does it always live up to the marketing hype for that kit, or do you find that you literally have to test it yourself? You won't believe what's written on it until you've
Yeah,
tested it yourself.
I, I, I mean, I think it's great that you listen to other people's advice and you try different things that they recommend. But I think you've always got to find what works for you. It doesn't matter. I don't think the price tag ever comes into it. It doesn't have to be the most expensive.
Hmm.
I've brought things that are expensive, and I thought, well, I don't think there's much difference between that than what this jacket is or what this shoe is. It's finding what works for you, and I run in the Brooks trainers, and I've tried other brands of trainers, and they just don't work for me. So I ended up actually picking up an injury from wearing another shoe, so I reverted back to the Brooks, and that's what works for me. So I stay with what I know, and hopefully they don't change the models too much. They don't mess about with the jackets that I like, and yeah, that's it. Training
Oh,
what you're gonna
fantastic.
wear. Training what you're gonna wear.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. And a good plug for Brooks shoes there. So yeah, well, well, there's an easy thing you can follow, guys. I'm not saying everyone can do 102 miles, but
No,
maybe that's
but
part of it.
you don't just go straight out there and do you and run 100 bars. There's a build up to it. I think the marathon is still a massive challenge, even for me. People think, oh, you can run 100 miles. A marathon's easy. No, it's a totally different ball game. I think
Mm.
marathon is one of the hardest running challenges that you can take on. You're racing time and you're under a bit more pressure. There's expectations higher. But if you do an ultra run, people aren't worried about the time. It's how far have you gone? That's all they're interested in, not worried about time. But if you're running a marathon, the first thing they say, oh, what was the time? So, I
That's
think
true.
you got to respect the marathon. You still got to respect the marathon, and I still do the odd marathon, but it's not my favourite. I'll take an ultra
Yeah.
any day over a marathon.
I love it, and this particular race as well. It's not how far or what time, but where did you get? So it's almost unique in that regard.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. And in terms of what's your third adventure habit?
Um, get inspired by other people. There's there's some great runners out there. There's some fantastic people that have done amazing things, not just running. Um, I mean, I follow Dan Lawson. He's broken loads and loads of records, UK records. One of probably Britain's best ultra runners. I
Hmm.
read books. Scott Jurek. I've read all of his books. Again, read those books. And Alcy Davis that ran round the whole of the southwest. Um, the coastal. She went right round the county of Cornwall last year. People like that
Yeah.
just keep raising that bar, and then you can. I just think just get inspired by what they're doing, and then you think, well, what can I do? Don't try to get. I don't think I can get to their levels. Maybe people can, but just think, what can I do? I think that's the key question.
Yeah, that's it. So treat that as inspiration, not as I need to do that as well. But it's
No,
by reading the book, I guess you get a bit inside the mind of how that person has performed. And I love those kind of the travelogues and
yeah,
the adventure books, the almost like autobiographical, all of them, because there's a bit of a mental game going on. And a good friend of mine, Steve Till, who was in Team GB, but back in the 1980s. He writes phenomenal books and is you'll find that these people are great at writing, and it's inspired by by the adventures that they've had. They've seen life in a different way to the rest of us, and that's what makes it intriguing. And yes, we'd all love a bit of that. That would be wonderful.
yeah,
Okay, so that's being inspired.
yeah.
So Lee, what's your fourth adventure habit?
Do something. I think do something that scares you. You can't. I think you can go through life and you can just keep doing the same things, and everything's fine. It'll tick along nicely. But I think it's important, just now and again, just what scares me? What can I do that's going to scare me? And people laugh and they'll be like, "Well, what scares you?" And I'll be like, "Well, probably doing a 5K now because that's a hard effort." So yeah, I think do something that scares you.
Yeah.
You could you,
Seriously,
by
doing a 5K scares you now, does it?
yeah. I'd rather do something big than do fast, high tempo running.
Hmm.
I avoid park run. I've done two park runs, so that sort of thing that scares me. But now and again, I think right. I've actually just booked in to do a 10K locally, so that for me that's scaring me, and I think it's good
Yeah.
that have that excitement, those nervous energy. I think it's good. I think that's a good thing.
Well, people will be expecting great things of you there, just as they will do at the end of May. So fingers crossed on your 10K. Do report back.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And your fifth adventure habit, Lee?
Whenever I'm doing anything big, I make sure that I've got treats that I really like, a go-to treat. So, or I'll plan something on my route that I'm going to stop at a certain place at a certain time. I'm going to treat myself. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not really a treat because I don't really rate McDonald's that much, but when you're doing ultra running, sometimes you crave for something like that. So Dartmoor for me, like using it at Dartmoor, I've used McDonald's as my gonna have breakfast at Dartmoor, for Dartmoor at McDonald's. That's what I'm gonna do. So I try to keep that in my head, a positive thought. I'm gonna have a break. It's gonna be like 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna sit down, have a nice coffee. Or the other thing that I've done before is like I've had something in my bag when someone collects me. I love chocolate milkshake. That's there waiting for me. So I've got a treat. So I think you should always have a treat there, either mid race or at the end of the race. Something you can go to. If you've got a low spot, you can just reach out and go, right, I'm going to grab my treat. I need a treat.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that works so well in the rest of life. I mean, I give myself a treat every 45 minutes because it just gives me a break from what I'm doing, and I'll only have the treat if I feel I deserve it.
Yeah,
And the deserving means that I have to work hard before I get to it. It's kind of yeah, it's kind of a nice analogy, but yeah, the treats along your adventure. So what's been your favorite treat that you've given yourself then?
I love Mars milkshake. That for me, or if you get really lucky, sometimes you can get an ice cream, something like that. Because your mood swings, or you have low points. Running for 24 hours, there's going to be some sort of moment. It might only last for a few seconds. It might last for an hour, but there's always going to be that low point. So if you can get to something that perks you up, like a Clippo ice cream. That's probably one of my little vices as well that I like. So if I can get that in my hand, yeah.
Well, people, it looks like Lee hasn't been able to join us for the end of that one. Anyway, Prison Break, Dartmoor, we're sponsoring it. If you're a great runner, get yourself down there the 30th of May. So if you do manage to make it down to Dartmoor, then take part in the race. You do need to sign up. There is a website which will be in the show notes as well. Lee, I'm so pleased that you're able to join us. Lee Plank, the guy that's run the furthest in the Prison Break. The Prison Break, we're the sponsors this year at Splash Maps. As such, we've got that discount there, 15%. It's a big discount. And it will give you the edge on the other competitors. So if you've want a chance of beating Lee this year, then get hold of one of those now, and get yourself off to the website and sign up. Sign up just as soon as you can, and have a fantastic time. Lee Plank, thank you so much for your time with us today. It's been great getting your adventure habits.